Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. This is Jennifer. So if any of you guys follow Jules or you follow Talk to Me Tuesday on our WordPress, then you know I had a very special visitor last week. My studio was the on-location filming for Jules Talk to Me Tuesday. My husband had a business trip in LA and we found out just a few weeks ago, and I told Jules, and I was like, I'm available. And so she flew in and stayed at my house, and we had just the best, most therapeutic week. It was a BFF retreat without sewing. We didn't sew anything. Jules did a little bit of unsewing, but that's a whole different story. But we did not crack out a single sewing machine. What we did was an amazing, epic thrift crawl. We went to thrift stores all over Austin. I took Jules to many of my favorite restaurants, went to antique malls, we went to Ikea. It was just a great week. It was really fun. So I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I got and tell you a little bit about our trip. So we started out going to Austin Creative Reuse, and we were there for ages. We just went through tons of stuff. We had the best time. Jules found some really good stuff. So when she does our video this week, you guys, you have to watch it just so you can see what she got. She did show some of the stuff she got last week, but we went more than once. So you guys have to make sure that you watch. And I think she might have even forgotten to show you one of the things in the first go round. So yeah, anyway, she got awesome stuff, but this is my stuff. I found a Raggedy Ann pattern that's never been cut. That is not the one that I have. I have the McCall's pattern. This is the Simplicity pattern. So I wanted to have this in case I got a doll made from this pattern so I could match pieces and clothing and whatever. So obviously excited about that. I did pick up a copy of Sidelights. This is a really popular pattern. It's been around for years and years and years. Patterns were $1, and I don't think I've ever had a copy of this. So I paid 25 cents for each of these patterns. A little bit of rickrack for Raggedy Ann, also rickrack. Ironically, I think I might have donated this one. Yeah, you know what? I know I donated this. This was mine before, but I wasn't thinking about Raggedy Ann when I donated it. So I probably donated this in May. That will go in my Raggedy bin, and then I won't forget about it and accidentally donate it again. I also bought this awesome miniature Ikea bag for $1. I have a big bag like this, and I think maybe Jules has a big bag like this, and I love it. It's one of my favorite bags, but it stands up by itself. It's just a really good size, and I kind of want to try to make a bag like this with the shape out of fabric, and so this would make a really great template. Either the first night or the second morning, Jules was telling me about this craft that she had seen that we had to try, which was taking the larger version of this. So these are, I think we decided they were blown mold jack-o'-lanterns. This is what I had as a kid. This is what my kids had as a kid. Now it's buckets everywhere. So we were on a mission to find some of these, and we never found a big one. We ended up buying a couple of small ones at Walmart. I think we went to 5 or 6 places before we bought these. So we bought these for about 98 cents, I think. We got 2 of them. And the reason we wanted these is she saw this awesome craft where you were using these as a mold, the big ones, not the little ones, using the big ones as a mold and putting Quikrete in them and making yard decorations, which obviously we had to do. I'm still on the lookout for these. We never found a jack-o'-lantern that was the good sized one. This was the biggest we ever found. I did, however, later in the week find a Darth Vader, which I'm totally gonna do. So the idea is that you pour your concrete in and then you just cut the jack-o'-lantern off and discard it. Well, I can't do that. I'm not a wasteful person. So I was like, maybe we can cut the mold first, tape it back together, and then we can use it again. And so that's what I did. I actually sawed this in half, and I didn't mean to leave the bottom intact, but I didn't manage to cut all the way through it, and it worked out. We ended up using this, putting masking tape on it, and since we were doing just a little one, we used plaster of Paris instead of Quikrete, which is fine for indoor decorations. It's not really something you want to put outside unless you clear coat the heck out of it. So here's our first one. He's not perfect. The first one we didn't grease the mold or anything like that. We just poured it straight in. And so, but he lost a little bit around his teeth, but I'm still happy with him. I think I'm going to paint him. The next one, we added gel food coloring to the plaster of Paris. This is not paint. This is actually food coloring. It's coming off on my hands a little bit, so I'm trying to be extra careful. Um, he needs to be clear coated. I've been giving him plenty of time to dry to make sure he was done because he just keeps getting darker. So I have this guy. Again, this was like Wilton gel food coloring. We literally just bought it at the grocery store. I poured a little bit too much because we were chatting, and so I had too much plaster of Paris on that go. So we made this one too. Jules did this, and you can see all her little fingerprints on there. So on this one and the super orange one, this guy, we put Vaseline inside the jack-o'-lantern, and it just popped right out. We made the hole with the end of a Cricut tube, just taped off, and then also Vaseline. I tried it with a cap on, and we almost never got it out because it had too much shape to it, and it stuck in the plaster. So flatter is better. Of course, we had a little bit of plaster left, so we went ahead and mixed another batch. And when we went back to Austin Creative Reuse, we found this powdered paint. So you add it to water to make paint, and we put it in our plaster. He's a little bit cropped. He has the tempera, well, I don't know if it's tempera, but he has the paint powder inside the plaster, so that is why the color is so solid. So awesome proof of concept. All of our holes were made with the Cricut tube, and this is what the hole is for. So you can put a candle in it, you can put a tea light in it, whatever. So I will be clear coating all of these, probably painting the one that's just plaster, and then maybe I'll show you guys those next week. We went back to Savers on Friday because we went there Tuesday and we went Friday. I got some candles, including the one I already showed you, for the pumpkins. I bought this amazing mold that's probably meant for silicone or even baking, but I'm going to make a paver out of this because I love it so much. A little bit of fabric. This is an Alexander Henry. A little bit of felt so I can make some coasters on my embroidery machine. A big old chunk of seasonal scrapbooking paper for making holiday cards. I'm going to do Christmas cards this year, and the way I did it last year was I sent back handmade cards to anyone who sent me a card. And I used to send out hundreds of Christmas cards. I don't do that anymore. Now I reply with a card. So if you send me a card, you don't get a like family photo card or anything like that, but you will get a handmade card from me. I showed you guys Vader. He was from a totally different thrift store. I got 2 yards of muslin at, like, I'm worried about my Cheeto fingers getting on there. That's from the pumpkin. Anyway, 2 yards of muslin from the Goodwill outlet store, which if you guys have never been to, is an entire experience. I also got another watering can that's identical to the blue one that I decorated a couple months ago, and I got a doll bed to turn into a pet bed. Right now I just have it wrapped in some fleece, but I'm planning on making a little Sherpa, fake Sherpa cover for it. So yeah, I'm gonna just share a picture here because I got a couple of pictures with kitties in, and it's the best. It made me laugh so hard. So Goodwill outlet is by the pound. It's like $1.59 a pound. I think I spent about $10, and I had a whole armload of stuff. I had some clothes. I had the pet bed. I had the doll bed, and I had the watering can. We also spent a day at Ikea. We just like went all over the store, looked at all kinds of stuff. We even had lunch there. I bought this little guy, which is, my magnets are sticking to it. I bought the magnets separately. I am going to put these magnets, they came with self-adhesive strips. I'm going to put them on the side of my cutting table. So when I'm cutting, I can move my tools off the table temporarily. I usually keep them on my pegboard, but when I'm working, I want them out. So that way I can have them on hand, and then I can pull this off the magnets and sit it on top of my cutting table. I'm absolutely sure I'm forgetting some things, but I do have one final thing to share, which I ordered from Hip Stitch in Albuquerque, where Jules works, while we were chatting, because she mentioned these pins that she has tried at work and she likes, and I was looking for some new pins. So I got 100 of these guys. These are magic flathead pins, heat resistant. They're supposed to be super sharp, super strong, and I'm really excited about them because I keep melting the heads of my pins. Even my heat resistant ones I've melted, I think probably because my vintage iron gets so hot. So I'm going to try these and I'll report back. I also got a couple of yards of clearance fabric from Hip Stitch. This is You Grow Girl, and I just happen to need a new apron, so this is probably going to be my new apron. Now, while Jules and I did not craft together, other than our pumpkins, we did do a little craft swap. I gave Jules some glow-in-the-dark Cricut vinyl and some other Crickety stuff, and she brought me a whole bunch of 3D puff vinyl, which she wore a shirt, a Talk to Me Tuesday shirt while she was here that was puffy vinyl, and it was so cool, guys. She's worn it in one of her videos, at least one of her videos before, and it's like very much like the old school puff paint where you paint it on and then it puffs. This is like you iron it on and it puffs. So yeah, I can't wait to use this. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it, but I have plenty of things to iron stuff onto. So I'm definitely gonna be playing with that soon. I may be forgetting something, but if I am, I don't know what it is. I also got some clothes that I'm not gonna show you guys today because you will see me wearing them over the course of the next few weeks. I thrift almost all of my tops. It's very rare that I buy the top, or it's very rare that I buy anything besides like underwear and socks because I love to thrift. So anyway, this was one of my thrifted shirts while Jules was here. I've been talking way too much. We had a great time. It was so therapeutic. I just, guys, I say this every time we spend time together, every time I spend time with Jules or with any of my wonderful friends, but especially Jules because she's my best friend. You guys, if you can spend time with friends and just, even if it's just a day, an afternoon, a couple hours, just, it's just good for the soul. You get to talk and just bond. And the older we get, the more I want to see Jules. And yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna get all like choked up. So you guys have a wonderful week. Have a crafty week. Be sure and watch Jules's video from last week, and be sure and watch her video that I'm hoping she posts this week so you can see her show and tell from our thrifting adventures. You guys, I will see you next week. Bye.